What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another stream. I hope you're all well. I've been looking forward to this one for quite a while, actually. So it's good to be back live. Game week 7 deadline tomorrow morning. We will have a deadline stream between now and then, of course, for you all. Let me just readjust what's going on. That's better. We'll have a deadline stream between now and then for you all, but we will, of course, now get in and do all of the usual bits, talk about our teams, any questions that you guys have, start dropping them in the chat section. Good to see so many of you and some familiar faces in here already. So yeah, nice to see it all. And Friday evening, a bit of a chill stream. We will have that intense deadline stream tomorrow morning, but of course, fire away any questions that you guys have ahead of the upcoming game week 7 deadline. I am just looking at that chat and it is hard to read. Let me see if I can change the look of it in just a second. I don't know what else I'd go with. Let me see if this is any better. Cool. So, yeah, so my team is up on screen for you all now. I have used my 2 free transfers. I haven't taken a hit, but this is how my team is lining up at the moment. So, it's that blue. I don't know why it's in that blue color. It's annoying because it shouldn't be in that blue sort of layout. Shouldn't be looking like that. Oh, hang on. Oh well. Cool. So, sorry, a little bit of faffing around to get things started, but let's dive straight into it. It wouldn't be a stream without trying to fiddle with some settings while we are live. So, what time am I going to lock in my team tomorrow? My team is pretty locked in already, to be honest. I would be surprised if my team changes from... Sorry, yeah, I need to, of course, start Rudiger and Ben White. But this is how my team will line up for this game week. Red's better. I don't know why it has a constant colour, but anyway. Best 2 Chelsea defenders to go with on a wild card this week. So I would definitely go for Rudiger. And my second one that I'd be backing would probably be Azpilicueta long term. If you're playing your wild card this week, I'd go and get Azpilicueta as my second Chelsea defender. Would I do shorter Kyle Walker? So he's probably fine for a few weeks. My worry is Kyle Walker, occasionally he may lose his place to Zinchenko, but he seems to be playing most weeks. So I'd be fairly confident that he plays the majority of games for City at the moment. So yeah, I'd be pretty happy with him for the short term for sure, especially if you've still got your wild card left. But of course, Cancelo and Diaz, if you've got the money to go for them, I would be going and getting those 2 in first of all. Good evening, guys. Will Alonso lose his spot to Chilwell? I have a differing opinion to a lot of people on this, but I wouldn't be going and buying Alonso. I know his ceiling is very high, but I just don't see him starting in that team long term enough for it to be worthwhile. I just think Chilwell is imminent in order to be gaining a space back in that team. So I wouldn't be going and getting him. When will I wildcard? So I still have my wildcard. I probably won't play it for a couple of weeks now. I don't see a need for it in my team. To be honest, I don't look at my team and think it's going to need a wild card anytime soon. So, yeah, at the moment, I won't be playing it in the next few weeks. A lot of people will probably play it over the international break, but for now, I won't be playing mine then. I'll probably save it to game week 14 when there's another big fixture swing for the likes of Leeds becoming difficult, Manchester United becoming good again, and a few others in there as well. So I'd probably wait until that time. And if things go wrong before then, of course, I can play it between now and then. I'm not set on waiting until then, but I will wait till then if possible. Aspi, Rudiger, and Cancelo, or Diaz, Rudiger, and Cancelo. So this is Aspi versus Diaz. I go for double City defence. I know this week they play Liverpool, but out of the two of them, I would be going for double Manchester City defence over double Chelsea defence. That's the way I'm going to be going. I will be looking at buying a second Man City defender in for Ayling in the next few weeks, but I won't be looking to get a second Chelsea defender in. I don't think that's my plan. I think I'll be going for double Manchester City defence rather than the double Chelsea defence. Thoughts on Jota? So Daniel Banks, welcome. Thank you for joining again. Thoughts on Jota? So I think it's a very difficult one if you own him. I probably would worry that he's not going to start game week 8 against Watford, which would be the fixture that I'd want him for, because Firmino doesn't look like he's going on international duty, and Jota, of course, is. So it makes sense for Klopp to play Firmino in that game. Now, in theory, he could rest one of Salah or Mane in that game and play Jota as well, but he wouldn't be playing through the middle where he's quite so effective. So I probably would be getting rid of Jota this week if you had a spare transfer. The thing is, there are so many of our teams that we look at now, and there is such a injury crisis in defence, or other rotation problems in defence, that you'd probably want to go and use your transfers on doing first. So if you've got Jota, I wouldn't go. If it's a luxury transfer to sell Jota this week, I think is kind of what it boils down to. I'd sell Jota if you don't have anything else to do, but if you do, then I wouldn't go, and I wouldn't worry about having Jota this week. Alonso, Aspi, or Thiago Silva. So Eddie, straight away, Rudiger is the number one captaincy pick for me. Sorry, the number one Chelsea defensive pick for me this week, and will continue to be so. But outside of him, then it's Azpilicueta is my second one. So Azpilicueta out of those lots, if you already own Rudiger. Is Antonio a good captaincy choice? Yeah, so Lukaku, Antonio, Ronaldo are all good captaincy picks for me this week. The top three for me this week. I wouldn't be steering outside of those, to be honest. I considered Rafinha for a little bit, but these three are definitely the ones that I would be considering going for this week. Jota to Rafinha and Gilmour to Smith Rowe, or instead of Gilmour, take Bamford out for Jimenez. I prefer, if you can keep Bamford, it's better. I mean, it strengthens your bench a little bit, and whether you need that, I don't quite know. But I'd probably go and do I don't love Smith Rowe, to be honest. I think he's fine if you can rotate him into your team. I'd much prefer Saka. I'm sure you can afford Saka. If not, then yeah, Smith Rowe. If you can get Gallagher, I prefer Gallagher to Smith Rowe, but I prefer Saka to either of them, to be honest. So yeah, that's where I'd be looking. Grealish or Saka. Saka for me. I'm not sold on the Manchester City assets in midfield or attack at the moment. So go for them in defence, great. But outside of that, I'd be, Saka for me out of both of them, KG. One, Benny Boy. You have Trent and Alonso with no free transfer and no wild card. So Alonso has a chance of playing. It's just my opinion that I'm not sure he will this week, but there's definitely a chance that he comes back into the team. He continues in the team. I suppose he got taken off in the Champions League. So if you have him, don't go using a transfer to sell him, or especially don't take a hit to sell him. I don't know who else is on your defence, Benny, but Trent is likely to be back for game week 8 anyway, so that's not really a problem for you. You probably don't need to worry about Trent particularly. Best 1 week punt in defence, Chilwell or Tierney, or maybe Burnley defence. So as much as I say I think Chilwell's going to start, I wouldn't go buying him. I'm not that sure on that as a decision. I wouldn't go buying Trent. I wouldn't go buying Chilwell this week. So if I would needing a 1 week punt, I would prefer Tierney over him. Who do I think is the best 1 week punt before wildcard? Sarr or Zaha or Son or Chris Wood or Jimenez? So if we look at the fixture, Chris Wood stands out. Target that Norwich fixture for me. I would, definitely be looking to target that Norwich fixture. They are the team to target. The other one to target is Newcastle. So it would be a forward transfer. It would be a move of either Chris Wood or Jimenez into your team this week. Harry, how are we doing? Harry Dawson, I'm imagine by you being in here, that means that the Simply FPL stream has ended. What are my thoughts on Bissouma? So I can't remember if we were expecting him to be fit, but there are better cheap midfielders anyway. If you've got him, fine, but let me just have a look if we're predicting him to start this week. He's one of those cheap midfielders, isn't he? He's not predicted to start. He's probably not going to play this week from what we know. So, yeah, not much to comment on him, to be honest. Frederick, thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Williams and Ayling for defensive backup. Well, Ayling looks like he's needing surgery on his injury that he's had over the past couple of weeks. So I'd probably be a bit wary of going and having Ayling on your bench. Williams is also not a great option being Norwich. The cheap defenders that I would go with would be Duffy, it would be Livramento, would be the two that I'd go with that are cheap options. Cresswell, a good option for a 1 week punt. West Ham at home to Brentford. Brentford have been not bad attacking wise. I still think they'll probably score this week. It's not right. It's a weird place to go for a 1 week punt, if I'm honest. There are probably better places that you could look at for that 1 week punt. Not a bad pick, but yeah, I think there's probably other players that I would go for. You will get a Chelsea defender for Trent this game week, then wildcard next week. What do you think about that? I don't mind that, but the only Chelsea defender, I mean, to be honest, because of our fixture congestion and now being international break, I'm not set on any Chelsea defender. I think there's a possibility that any of them get rotated, but I don't think Rudiger will get rotated this week. So if you're looking for a 1 week pick on a Chelsea defender, it is still Rudiger. How long can we keep holding Greenwood? So I put a tweet out earlier being like, I think the time for Greenwood in my team is a little bit limited. I think he'll probably be losing his place soon. I'll probably look to downgrade him. And everyone was like, well, the fact that we have a return of Rashford probably doesn't impact him that much because he plays on the right. It is just that congestion of the amount of tackles. Like Rashford in theory could play on the right if he's wanting to play Pogba out wide. There's just a lot of players who are now, we're not seeing anymore. Sancho one side, Greenwood the other side. Like, that's not possible. So Sancho will get some starts and it will be at the expense of Mason Greenwood. So I think he's probably fine in your team for this week, maybe next week. But yeah, I wouldn't be bringing him in for sure. And yeah, I would just wait and see on selling him until we know that he's probably more of a problem once Rashford is fully fit. How was my delivery, Antonio delivery? It was not bad, thank you. It was pretty nice, thank you. I'm on a diet, so it was pretty healthy, but it's what you can get in London. Is Tsimikas a good option to start? I don't think Tsimikas will start. I don't think Robertson has got an injury, so yeah, I don't think Tsimikas will start this week for those of you guys asking. Do I need a mod? I don't think I can do it at the moment. It's not that particularly busy tonight, so I think we'll be all right. We normally have a few in here anyway. I do have some. So, yeah, so just a quick announcement. Hopefully below the stream, you will see that I have launched the memberships to my channel. So if any of you guys particularly fancy supporting the channel or joining, then that'll be really appreciated. In terms of benefits, there isn't that much. It just helps support the channel. I will of course make sure that I always answer your questions that you have when we are live on stream, and then comments on my videos and everything like that. I will make sure that your questions are always answered. But if any of you guys do want to support the channel, there will be a link down below. I think it's at $1.99 a month. Nothing very much, but of course I will answer all your questions when you come into the live stream, and it helps support the channel a little bit. So you don't need to do a super chat, but it will give you a little badge, a little emblem next to your name, and then I will, of course, always endeavour to answer your questions when we are live. So anyone who does fancy doing that, please let me know. If it's not there, then again, let me know, because it should be. It wasn't there last week, but I set it up properly this week, so it should be there. What defender would I bring in for a 1 week punt that isn't a Chelsea defender? So if we look at it, Burnley, like Ben Mee, target that Norwich fixture again. A Wolves option, Semedo, target the Newcastle fixture again. So those would be the two options that I would be going with. Who do you think for a second Chelsea defender? I'd go Azpilicueta, or if you don't have the money, I'd go Christensen between the two of them. So that's where I'd be going. Simply FPL, thank you very much. Our first member on the channel. Thank you. Appreciate you joining. I will have to become a Simply FPL member now, won't I? I can't believe I'm not one, but I appreciate you joining. Being the first one. Cheers, bud. Is St. Maximin good for this game week? Yeah. The Wolves away. Wolves have been quite solid, but I still think St. Maximin is a good option to be going with, for sure. Rafinha captain is a good option. The amount of injuries in that Leeds team, yes, he's probably the main threat out of all those players. It just worries me that then he's not going to have anyone to create chances with. He's kind of got to do it on its own. Oh, it should be coming up with a little tips logo next to you, not that little green thing, but I will correct that for next time. You've only Dunk as a playing defender, Soufal, yellow, and benching Trent. Should you get me or Taylor for Ayling, Soufal? I'd sell Ayling for sure, and if you can get Christensen, I'd probably go there, to be honest, if that's the transfer you're looking to make. The other one is Kieran Tierney, who I still think is a good option to go with. So yeah, you can definitely go with him. The Arsenal defence has looked much better. 1 goal conceded in 3. And Tierney is getting far forward up that left-hand side. What Tuchel said about Alonso and Chilwell, he didn't particularly. Just that he's going to need players who track and run a lot against the high press at Southampton. And I wonder if that is more Chilwell than it is Alonso. So Mason Mount, again, I just don't like the Chelsea midfielders. There's too much rotation. Mount is definitely the best of the bad bunch. He's definitely the one I'd go with, and he is back fit this weekend. But I just don't think it's worth your money. I'd rather one of those. I'd rather Saka, for example. Frederick, thank you for the super chat. So Sanchez, Manquillo, Rudiger, Semedo. Manquillo is starting, I think, at the moment, so that's fine. Salah, Greenwood, Jota, Sarr, Bissouma, Ronaldo. I'm sure you're missing a player. Oh no, you're playing 3-5-1, Frederick. So there must be someone. There must be someone missing in that team, but it is a bit weak. But starting Bissouma, I don't think he's particularly going to play, is a bit of a worry. I don't know if you've got any money in the bank that you could do Amati up to a Arsenal defender, for example. Amati up to Ben White would definitely be something I'd consider. Semedo or Ben White. So, I mean, this week I'd start Semedo. Generally in my team, I'd probably have Ben White. No problem, guys. You forgot Antonio. Okay, fair. But yeah, I'd look at going probably a Marty if you've got any money at the bank upgraded. Does the price changes worry you? So let me just edit my settings very quickly. Do I let price changes get to me? Not particularly. It's not something I look at loads. I don't know why I haven't now got that open. Let me just let me go and get the price changes up and we can have a little look at them. But let me just hide the display while I go and do that. There we go. What are the price changes for tonight? Right, there we go. Got it up. Is Brownhill the ultimate differential this week? To be honest, if you're in a situation where you're having to play Brownhill in the fixture that he's got, I think it's fine. I think there's going to be a bit of, just putting out 11 players this week will be good enough in a lot of cases. You've got 2.3 mil in the bank. Wow, okay, so you can get up to a 6 mil. Wow, you can basically get anyone you want. I'd potentially go a -4 of a Marty up to a Man City defender. It's not great for this week, but it's probably something I'd do. You can start paying off that -4 this week, and then you have the transfer next week. I'd probably go up to Cancelo from Amati, to be honest, this week. Daniel says he's loving the new graphics. Appreciate it. Yeah, we had some work done with FPL Captain on Twitter, who does a lot of graphics for a lot of different people. So yeah, he's amazing. Like, I love them so much. So yeah, very pleased with the new ones. Yes, there will be a live stream tomorrow morning, deadline stream, the usual 10 till 11. We will be back. So hopefully you guys are all subscribed and turn on notifications so you get that reminder when we do go live. Is it good to sell Ailing this week? So he looks like he's going to have surgery. So I would be very worried about having him. Oh, it goes over here. That's why. I don't know what. Oh, it's glitching out up there. Brilliant. My tabs are all glitched. Great. If Alonso price goes up again tonight, I'll be selling for a 0.1 profit. Love those wildcard hacks. To be fair, that's pretty worth it. It looks like he is. He's like 110%. Who else have we got going up? Do I get any double rises this week? Oh, Cancelo, Rafinha, Rudiger. Go on. Triple rise for me in there. Okay, so I'll have a double rise on Cancelo before I even play him. And a double rise on Rudiger this week and a Rafinha rise. That is very nice. And then the whole new transfers for next week, once people start bringing in Chelsea defenders again and City defenders, means I'll be banking a lot of value on them. So hopefully we get a couple of price rises. Who would be a better captain? Maximin, I wouldn't be captaining St. Max. Ronaldo or Antonio. For me, I'd go Ronaldo. I just think he's the best captaincy pick out of those three this week. It's between Ronaldo and Lukaku for me, both at home. Brentford have been I think they're going to be better defensively away from home than they're going to be at home. So that's why I probably wouldn't go Antonio. So I'd go Ronaldo. This may sound boring, but it would be the one that I would go with. Let me add in on the right-hand side the text. To Asp3 Christensen for Alonso, in like that. Cool. Benrahma, Traore to Rafinha for a -4. No, Benrahma to I probably wouldn't be doing either of those for a -4. Traore I don't love, but he has a home fixture against Newcastle, one of the best fixtures you can have, and I think he'll probably start. I probably wouldn't be doing either of them, to be honest, this week. Especially if it was for free, then yeah, we could have a chat about it. But for a -4, I wouldn't be going and doing that, to be honest. So no, I wouldn't be doing that for -4. How about Conte's comments on Chelsea not knowing how to use Lukaku, putting me off captaining him again? So they talked a lot in the press. Well, he spoke a lot in the press conference about Mount and Kovacic being the two players who are at a capable level of linking up with Lukaku at the moment, and the rest of the team need to improve on that. Mount is back, which makes me feel slightly more assured in captaining Lukaku this week. So if I get my team back, this is what we have got. My captain is on Lukaku this week. So yeah, that website is Fantasy Football Fix. There are paid areas of it, but you can also get the app, which I use to just check the price changes, and it's completely free as well, the price change part of it. They have an app which you can use and just quickly check the price changes and everything like that. So yeah, my favourite chess player, I don't actually watch that much chess, but are you talking about chess players or Chelsea players? Sorry, you also asked earlier, didn't you, by me? Your team is Sanchez, Steer, Christensen, Marçal, Williams. Livramento. That defense is weak at the moment. Rafinha, Sarr, Salah, Jota, Sissoko, Antonio, Bamford, Ronaldo. One transfer, 1.1 in the bank. I would be looking at that defense. Christensen, I don't love. I wouldn't be using your one transfer to go from Christensen up to Rudiger this week, though. Midfield and attack is... Bamford's out is the only thing as well. Let's go. Bamford should be back next week, and Sissoko is okay cover for him this week. I would use it on a defensive transfer. There's worry about Marçal keeping his place. I would probably go Williams, upgrade. The ones I would look at, I'd probably go Tierney, given the money you have in the bank. Williams up to Tierney could definitely be the one. FPL tips is Grandmaster at chess. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's what I do when I'm not streaming. When I'm not doing FPL, I'm conquering the world at chess. You're on a wild card. Who should I go for in midfield? You already have Firmino and Salah, and you want a 3-5-2. I'm not sure there are 5 midfielders that you'd want to be going with, to be honest. But if you haven't watched my game week preview video, I go into a lot of detail about midfielders in that. So make sure you go and check that out. But basically, Gallagher I like, Saka I like, Son at a more expensive price. But I probably only want 3 or 4 midfielders in your team at the moment because you've only got Salah. The rest of that midfield is dreadful at the moment. There aren't enough midfielders that we want to be picking. So when was the last time Vardy didn't score at Selhurst Park? Wasn't it 4 years ago? Vardy is on great form, and I think maybe he's not getting the potential transfers that maybe he should. Let's have a look at transfers in for this round. Shall I make that a bit bigger? You probably can't all see that. There you go. Alonso has had 500,000 transfers in. I am, honestly, if I'm wrong and he's benched, then fair enough. And he starts, fair enough. But I just worry that he's not going to start. For half... Look at that. 1 million new owners of Chelsea defence. 135k transfers in for Kovacic. Like, what? Some transfers, especially at the start of the season, confused me so much. 125k transfers in for Decore. 100,000 transfers in for Douglas Luiz. Like, at the start of the season, the transfers that people make just completely confuse me. Like, you're using your free transfer to bring in Douglas Luiz. 100,000 people have used a transfer to bring in Douglas Luiz. Like what? And 80,000 people have got Thiago Silva of all the Chelsea defenders. No, anyway, just confuses me. Like, I'll look at some of the transfers out as well. Like, to be fair, these aren't as bad. To be fair. But, like, Gray is one of the most transferred in and out players. Like, make up your mind on whether he's a good pick or not. But, yeah, 139 transfers in for Salah. Even more bizarre. Who on earth is getting him now? Well, this is true. Like, if you didn't have him already, why are you bringing him in before City? Sorry, Herman, I'll get to it. I was too focused on ranting about transfers. Raya, Rudiger, White, Cancelo, Salah, Saka, Gallagher, Rafinha, Lukaku, Vardy, and Antonio. Diaz on the bench. Thoughts? A drop Vardy to Jimenez. I wouldn't be selling Vardy this week. That's a very nice team for this week. A lot of people are in a much worse situation than you are. I would roll that transfer for sure. You're very well set up for next week. And then if you want to go Vardy downgrade in order to upgrade elsewhere next week, then go for it. But there's no need to be making a transfer on that now. So Sanchez, Cancelo, Rudiger, Marçal, Rafinha, Saka, Salah, Antonio Smith-Rowe. Cancelo, Rudiger, Marçal. So I'm not saying sell Marçal, but I would just warn you all that there is a little bit of talk amongst Wolves fans that Ait Nouri being back fit could potentially be bad news for Marcel. Now, it may not happen. He could just keep his place, and it's very possible, but it's worth remembering. Evening, Charlie. How are we doing? One Rover Vlogs. Anyone who's a fan of sort of football vlogs, make sure you go and watch Charlie's channel. You don't recommend to me a lot of days. Sorry, Yusuf, if you ask some questions in the chat, I do my best to come back on Twitter to people as well, but my notifications are a lot at some point. So Rafinha or Smith Rowe? Rafinha for sure. Vardy and either Watkins or Ings, what I reckon. So I'd probably go Ings just because he's on penalties. Hardeek, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. Anyone, of course, who's new, if you subscribe down below, the chat is also only subscribers only as well. So make sure you're subscribed. But as I've just mentioned before, we have launched members for the channel. So for $1.99 a month, you can help support the channel. You basically get all your questions answered in the live chat. Of course, make sure to answer every member's question. But you also just help me support the channel, get upgrades like these graphics and everything like that. So if anyone does fancy supporting, I have launched it today. So it should all be there down below. Would I transfer Greenwood out for Rafinha this week? For free, yes. But apart from that, I wouldn't. So you have 146 Cancelo, that good for -4. If it's increasing the number of players you put out this week, then I think it's fine for a -4 because you'll want him next week. If it's not, then I'd wait till next week. Let me get my team back on screen. Cool, there we go. Dear, made me laugh. Trent for Aspi or Jota for Rafinha? I'd keep Trent. Ben, thank you for subscribing. I'd do Jota for Rafinha. Got Salah for Lukaku. I don't love selling Salah. He has a difficult fixture this week, yeah, but I don't love selling Salah. I don't think it's a particularly good move, but I like getting Lukaku in. He's my captain this week. How's the team for next 5 weeks? You've got Sanchez in goal, yep. Cancelo, Rudiger, Marcel. Just watch out on Marcel, but hopefully you have a good bench for him. Rafinha, Saka, nice. Salazar, Ronaldo, Antonio Smith Rowe. That's very nice. I like those a lot. Yeah, nice team. Just watch out on Marcel, and you may not want the fixture for Watford are pretty dreadful from next week, so I don't know whether we'll be wanting to keep Sarr long term to play him every week is the only thing. If you look at Sarr, like, you can probably play him at Everton, you could definitely play him against Southampton, so short term hold is fine, but like next week it's not great. But for me, for example, if Trent is back, like I can play Cancelo, Trent, Rudiger, Ben White, for example, next week, so should be fine. I can play a back four, then I can play Antonio, Lukaku, Salah, and then it's Rafinha, of course. Then I have to just pick like a 4-4-2. So in theory, 2 of these midfielders. Daniel Barber, welcome and thank you for subscribing. Like, he's got Everton away, fine. He's got Liverpool at home. Like, I should be fine. Why should you keep Trent? Because I think he'll be back for next week. Like, if you're selling Trent just because he misses Man City at home, I kind of question why people own him in the first place. Like, Watford, United, Brighton in the next 3 is good fixtures for him. So yeah, I would be keeping him personally. Is it pizza week? So unfortunately, since the beginning of October, I have been on a very strict diet. So I haven't had pizza at all. Running until the middle of October, I have lost a stone. Just put on a little bit during lockdown, and then sort of just before it as well, like my last year of uni, and then over the summer before, and then into lockdown, like just slowly put on weight. So yeah, I just have been on a diet. I'm lost more than that weight that I ever put on, so I'm very happy with that, but it's just got a little bit left. And then I will be celebrating the night it comes out that I break it with a pizza. But Jimenez or Smith or St. Maximin, I'd probably go Jimenez. Bonus point magnet. You can see Jota starting this week. The alternative is starting Jones, and I don't see that happening. The alternative is starting Firmino, who is back fit. My thinking is, though, is Jota is going to have international duty and Firmino isn't. So game week 8, Watford fixture, I can see Firmino starting that. So yes, he might start this week, but then next week it's again, it's a bit like Alonso. I can only see him starting one of the next 2. Declan Rice or Ben White in your team for tomorrow? Ben White. Legend. So, Azil, you're super torn. Can anyone help in the chat? Lukaku for Cristiano and Gray starts with Rudiger in for Shaw/Trent. I'd sell Shaw for Rudiger, but I think Shaw will probably start. They're all quite like luxury transfers that could backfire like this week on you. Bamford long term I still like. I probably would do Bamford to Jimenez and the defensive transfer of Shaw to Rudiger is probably the way that I would go. Tony or St. Maximin. Short term St. Max, but I expect Tony to outscore St. Maximin throughout the course of the season. So, yeah. When will I wildcard? At the moment, not for a while. I don't think it... Yeah. I'm hoping to hold it for... I'm hoping to hold it until sort of game week 14 and beyond. You're so confident that Chaël will start, so you're getting him, and I'm going to wildcard in game week 8 anyways. Fair enough. I personally think he'll start. That's my prediction. I'm planning on ushering your wildcard next, because should I transfer Trent out? If you're wildcarding over the international break, then yeah, selling Trent is fine. I don't know if I can. How you doing, sweet? Thoughts on Mount as a Jota replacement? Thank you very much for joining, bud. Yeah, appreciate it. In your little pseudonym. Thoughts on Mount? I just don't... So originally Mount was not a player that I wanted to pick. I still think he's too expensive. I think like the likes of Rafinha, Saka, Gallagher will probably be pretty close to him for points over the next few weeks. However, Tuchel's comments today make me wonder actually whether Mount is slightly more important. I still stand by I'd probably go for the likes of Saka or Gallagher, Rafinha before I go for him. But if you are not wanting to double Chelsea defence and you are really wanting to attack these fixtures, then Mount would be the only midfielder that I would consider buying. So I think we've shown that we've struggled without him in the past couple of weeks. As much as maybe we didn't think we would, I think we're going to be good having him back this week. So he's just not going to be explosive is the thing for me. So as much as I think he can tick along points, I think you can get someone who can tick along as many points for 1 million, 2 million less than him. So best budget striker. So long term, I still think Tony will be the one that we will want longer term. Short term, I think St. Maximin, Armstrong as well, but Southampton look really poor going forward. So I'd probably own St. Maximin short term, but Tony in a few weeks' time when their fixtures change would be the one that I would go with. If you were picking a Chelsea defender as a 1 week punt, I still wouldn't go elsewhere apart from Rudiger because I don't know who else is going to start. I'm not even 100% sure that he's going to start, but he's the most assured that it would be. So it's been confirmed that Luke Shaw is with the Manchester United squad tonight, which would mean he's in the squad for tomorrow. So any of you guys who are owning Luke Shaw or considering selling him, it looks like he's going to be in the squad for tomorrow. So it would be a little bit of a boost for anyone who's needing Luke Shaw this week. So tempted to just go Chilwell. No, I don't. I wouldn't go Chilwell or Alonso. When I say don't go Alonso, it doesn't mean go Chilwell. The reason for it is I just think they're both too good to sit on the bench every week. That they will both rotate minutes, and one might end up playing Champions League and one might play Premier League. But you could go the wrong way and get the wrong one. Just wouldn't go there. If you know, my top ones is Rudiger at the top, Reece James when fit second, then Azpilicueta, then Christensen. Is the way that I would go for this. But yeah, Luke Shaw is in the squad tonight. He's travelled with the United squad for the early game tomorrow. So could just be going and having dinner with them because it's at home, but I don't think that's the case. Long-term replacement for Sarr. So Saka, Gallagher, Rafinha are the three cheap mids that are on my radar at the moment, and they've got decent enough fixtures coming up. They're all at a good price as well. I'm thinking Greenwood to Saka may be my transfer next week. Do I think Aspi can still play when James is back? Yeah, he plays the third centre-back role. He will rotate a little bit, but if the thing is, with James being back so quickly, and he's probably going to be back for game week 8, it would worry me a little bit because I'd probably want to go James and then bench him this week. But then it does worry me about Azpilicueta slightly more getting the occasional rest because he did look knackered midweek. Like, it showed that he can't play as many minutes as he had. This is why I don't want double Chelsea defence, because I just don't know, like, every week, one in every 3 game weeks, I'm going to lose one of them. And it's just not what I want. So I'm going to be going... My predicted transfers for the next couple of weeks, to basically put this into context, is I've got 0.7 in the bank now, which is great. Ayling is out. Bring in Ruben Diaz, the most assured starter in that Man City team apart from Edison, and it leaves me 6.7. Like, Saka in, and then I have a 4-4-2, which I am very happy looking at that I can get to this with 2 transfers next week. 4 at the back, Cancelo, Trent, Diaz, Rudiger. The City and Chelsea fixtures, happy with those 4 every week. With White being first on the bench, with the Arsenal fixtures of that, again, is very nice. And then play 4 of my midfielders, based on fixtures. So like Sarr next week has Liverpool. I don't need to play him because I can play Rafinha, Salah, Saka, Benrahma with Lukaku and Antonio up front. So again, like, saving my wild card again till later, I think I can get to the structure that I want like this. Cheers, Sam. I will message you on Twitter over the weekend, I'm sure, as we discuss how our game weeks get on. But yeah, guys, if you could smash that like button, it would be much appreciated. But yeah, for anyone wondering, that's probably what my transfer plan is for the next week. It would be Greenwood to Saka. In theory, if I think Greenwood's going to start, then I might roll the transfer. I could roll the transfer and play Greenwood away at Leicester in game week 8. Like, I could do that. So, not many people are talking about Benrahma at the moment, especially in wildcards. Do people only want to punt Antonio with West Ham's fixtures? So the only thing is, like, the fixtures are not great. Everton, Tottenham, Villa, Liverpool in the next 4 after Brentford. And he scored once in 4 now. Like, the other midfielders are not great picks either. Like, I grant you. Gosh, my setup's falling apart. Everything's just taped together. Like, everything on my setup is just like sellotaped to the desk, so I can access it all easily. So I can't wait for one day when I'm not sat in a bedroom. I can actually have an office and have a PC rather than my Mac, which gives off so much heat. A ring light, which is like the worst thing ever. God, But yeah, everything's just like taped up and blue tacked to the wall so it stays. But that's a little bit why. Like, I'm a bit apprehensive. And then he, played 90 minutes in Europe in midweek. There's a chance they go to their back five, but with Soufal out, maybe that doesn't happen. But that's the thing. Grealish or Saka? I'd just go Saka. I'm not a big fan of the Man City guys. They share the points so much anyway. So yeah, I'd go Saka over Grealish. I wish I could work out how to play. Maybe it's worth me doing FIFA on stream, and I can still answer FPL questions. Like, it would still be an FPL stream, but like I could just chill for an hour and a half playing some FIFA, and guys could come and ask me some questions. Maybe worth looking at. Wildcard: Ramsdale, Foster, Cancelo, Rudiger, Livramento, Alonso, Diaz, Salah, Rafinha, Saka, Grealish, Brownhill, Antonio. So I would go Grealish downgrade probably. I'd probably split Grealish and Brownhill in half and go for like Gallagher and Damari Gray, and then save the money and look to go Alonso up to Trent soon. So it's not a bad wildcard team. I would just split Grealish in half so you can rotate them each week. So one week midfielder punt. What time is it? 20. 1 week with midfielder punt. Wolves and Burnley, but you don't want a midfielder punt from either of those this week, do you? 1 week midfielder punt. West Ham, don't love it. Leeds, again, Klitsch, no. Mount, maybe. Maybe you go Mount. Do you go Saka, but away at Brighton? Like, it's hard in midfield this week. A lot of the midfielders that I want to think about, it's not great. Let's have a look at the Fantasy Football Hub points prediction tool. For anyone who doesn't know, Fantasy Football Hub link is in the description, but they have a great points prediction tool. So midfielders points prediction: Son, Bruno, Rafinha, Greenwood, Mount, Bowen, Harrison, Kai Havertz. I worry about Havertz not starting though. So, or Zaha would probably be one of those that I would go with then. It's pretty good and does pretty well, to be fair, that tool. Which might prefer, Jimenez or Tony? Jimenez probably for now. Foster or Sanchez to start this week. So Backman's back in training, but I'd probably, Backman's back in training. I'd probably just play Sanchez anyway. Either way. So Gallagher and Buemo or Smith Rowe. Probably Gallagher. Gallagher's underlying stats. If you haven't seen any of my content on YouTube or Twitter this week, Gallagher's underlying numbers are really great. You should have a read on Fantasy Football Hub of my... Let me see if I can find it for you. My differentials. My differential article for Gameweek 7. Basically, the midfielder that I talk about is Gallagher. That's not a good one. Here. Like, he's top for in amongst all of Palace players. I'll leave that on screen so you guys can have a little read of my Gallagher article. This is free every week and I tweet it out, but there you go. Have a read. If I was to wildcard, would I keep Trent in your team? I probably would, yeah, because I don't like booking in a transfer 1 week later anyway. It's not really how I play the game. It's not really what I'd want to be doing. So, yeah, I would keep him in my team. Yeah, I would keep him in my team. What time is it? Cool. Well, it is almost time. I think I'm going to wrap up the stream there because we will be live again in the morning. As I said, anyone who fancies joining as an FPL tipster, there is a link to join in below the chat. But we will be back tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, for a deadline stream. I will see you all then. Good luck to anyone who doesn't come back in Game Week 7, but I will see you all tomorrow morning. Thank you all and good night. Cheers all.